The next major is on tap tonight at the Tavern. Let's get right into it. Yeah. I think he's back to form. He fell off a little bit last year, but he also was named Ryder Cup captain. Give me Steve Ramsey. I don't know why we're had you guys back in here, but I don't know if you know this.
There we go.
I just got an update on my phone. The Golfing Dad's Tavern is live on Instagram right now.
And as a famous movie once said, there was much rejoicing.
Yay.
So we had a great guest last week. Thank you to Ryan for being on the show. And
Who somehow recruited Scottie Scheffler as a babysitter.
Oh my God. That's the greatest photo. How
do you do that? I mean, I'm hitting him up for a practice round at that point. I mean, really?
Hey, you know how he does that? It's the luck of the Golfing Dad's Tavern from being on the show.
That's what it is. Scottie was like, hey, I want to be on the Golfing Dad's Tavern, so I got to get with Ryan so that I know how to get on that show. That's what it was.
Don't worry, Scottie.
He had the power of the Golfing Dads behind him.
Scottie, whenever you want to come on, standing invite. Here we go.
Yeah,
we'll just leave
standing invite.
But speaking of Ryan, if you're out there, I know you got a lot more on your mind. Coming up with Odds with Dave, we have Odds with Ryan.
Nice.
On his PGA Championship appearance.
So I'm just going to ask this because he's leaning into the camera right now, and it's Steve. What did you do this weekend?
That.
It's more close up of Steve than I think all of our viewing audience wants to
see. That is true.
I got to tell you, I put the hot take on Facebook Sunday night. Thursday, I spent at Philadelphia Cricket Club. And I will tell you, I did run into the one and only Mike Dinda, former guest of the show. The
Makefield Putters.
Makefield Putters. Hot take. Way better than when Dave sends hot takes, because his usually are pretty standard takes. That golf course was unbelievable. And when I tell you that golf course run by the PGA Tour, a PGA Tour event, that is the best golf course they play on the PGA Tour this year.
And now remember that does not include the Masters and
correct
events that aren't they are PGA Tour players playing, but it is run by a different entity for those events. So but that's a great course out there. I mean, that Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware crossing area has some of the greatest golf courses in the world.
Right there. Flying in, and we're in our descent into Philadelphia, into the airport, and I look down and I'm like, man, that looks. Oh, that's Pine Valley. Just casually flying over the number one golf course in the world. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Then you got Marion right there too.
Yep.
You have
Wanamaker.
Yep. You have a whole bunch. Laurel Valley, which is another one that's close to that area. So there's a lot of great golf courses in that area.
Doesn't take you long to shoot down into the DC, Virginia metro area either from there.
No, it's a pretty great area for golf. So Dave, how was your weekend?
We were busy. We had Mother's Day brunch on Sunday, so we spent my wife and sister-in-law pretty much spent Saturday prepping, and I was out doing vineyard work. And then Sunday we had about 300 people or so come through for Mother's Day brunch. So it was a busy weekend for us.
Nice. Yeah, I went to the Pacers game on Friday. Unfortunately, they lost, and then witnessed on Mother's Day one of the greatest beatdowns I've ever seen in a basketball game. It's not going that well for the Pacers right now, but hopefully they'll put it together and close out Cleveland tonight in Cleveland. So
speaking of basketball, before because this is a hot button topic here, before we get into that, because you've involved in basketball right now, was it rigged?
was what rigged?
The draft.
No, I don't think the draft is rigged. No.
No, it's like Shaq falling to the Magic at number 1.
Yeah, you're not giving
Penny and then Penny the next year.
Yeah.
If it was rigged, you honestly want the Spurs to win that draft.
Yes.
Because you want Wemby and Flag together, like that would be an amazing young combination there. So if you're gonna say it's rigged, that's where you rig it.
Also feel like Wemby and Flag are the same player.
They're not. Like, I think they would complement each other very well. Like, they're big, but everyone in the NBA is big.
They're big. They shoot outside. They dribble. They're good off the dribble. Like,
no, but think about it.
Yeah.
You're recreating Duncan Robinson if you put those two together.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're recreating at that point. So,
but I knew that was kind of all over. It's just like, oh, you trade Luka and get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, that was crazy. How that all went down. But all right, with that, I say we get into the first round.
Ready to take your game to the next level? Desert Fox Golf's collegiate gear is growing fast, with over 25 universities and counting. Show off your favorite team on the course with the Phone Caddy and DJ10 speaker, built for easy access for every round. Perfect for students, alumni, and college sports fans looking to show off their school spirit. Gear up today at desertfoxgolf.com.
So for those draft picks out there, if you get your NCAA logoed Desert Fox, DJ10, Phone Caddy. Dave, you sent out some great photos. Your local course there, you were playing in your member group or member night, and everyone had a Phone Caddy out.
And here's the thing: those aren't one that Airport Road Vineyard and the Golfing Dad's Tavern donated to the draft night party. Those were other ones that people had gone out and purchased since Desert Fox has been on the show and everything. So I had a lot of questions.
The greatest phone holder ever.
Yeah. A couple people were upset that I didn't have the cigar holder out there with me to show it to them. So that'll be next time. But the biggest question I had, and I know we've all talked to Scott, and there's a certain school here in Iowa that produced a certain player called Caitlin Clark that they are waiting for the Iowa Hawkeye drop
Saturday the
season
starts.
I said you got to be patient. It's coming. So, but kudos to Desert Fox and everybody out there that's gone and supported Desert Fox, whether it was through us or something else. But yeah, a lot of DJ10 speakers, a lot of phone caddies out there.
If you need a good speaker for your cart and a phone caddy, use on your first purchase Golfing Dads and get 15% off. You'll see the code later on in the show. Great stuff out there. But let's get right into our first round here. And we wanted to talk about this because we see this a lot. We are kind of pseudo media here in the social media world. But there's been some comments out there calling out tour players, or really, I'm going to say any player, for two different things. One, about their responsibility in talking to the media after a round, and two, their responsibility to give autographs to people after their round. So I want to bring up this topic tonight and talk about those two things. First, let's talk about the autograph things, because that we can get out of the way, and then the media question I think is going to be a little bit more. But do you guys feel players at any point are obligated to give fans autographs?
No.
Okay, I agree. I do believe they should, but I don't feel they are obligated. That's the difference that we talk about here.
Now, there's a difference here, and we'll use baseball and baseball spring training and a pro-am as kind of the same example here,
or a practice round. You can use that,
or a practice round, a pro-am, a practice round. this is still their job. This is what they're doing. Even in spring training, they may be playing 3 innings. And then a lot of times, the guys that have started, whether it's, Aaron Judge or Rafael Devers, as long as he's still in Boston, or Bryce Harper, they, they get their work in, and then they're going to go along the side and maybe sign a couple autographs, but they have other commitments, beyond that, whether it's a therapy session, work on the backfield, something. They still got more work to do. Same thing with a practice round or a pro-am. We've all witnessed guys in a pro-am, saying, hey, I'll sign at the end. I am working right now in the middle. And you kind of just go, it's a pro-am. I know this is your job. This is, you're trying to hit shots, but it's a pro-am. But there's a fine balance between people that are asking for autographs and then people going over the line, demanding and asking for autographs, or grown adults pushing kids over to try and get in to get the autograph to put it up on eBay.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah,
that's where they're not obligated to do any of this, and we talk about that they're working this entire time. Like, it's, if someone came to your job and forced you to do ask for an autograph, first of all, we're not that famous, but you're in the middle of doing something. That's like if you're at dinner and you're asking someone like, oh, hey, can I have an autograph? Hey, I'm out with my family. Like, can it wait till we finish dinner? Do things like that. Like, we have to be polite to them as well in this instance. Like, they're not obligated to give us anything. They're not obligated to do anything. They're there to do their job, and they have to focus on that. Just like the same reason that Rory didn't have to talk to Bryson when they played in Sunday on the Masters. Like, it's the same kind of concept there.
Yeah. And I think from our side of it, let's take the 3 of us being on the floor at the PGA show doing our broadcast. And as in the middle of that, people are walking by and, waving us down and everything. It wasn't technically distracting to us. It was a new concept for us because we've never been in that environment like that on the other side of it before. But it was kind of not necessarily eye-opening to see, just a different experience to be in the middle of a sentence. And, there goes, red flag golfer walking by, and we're just like, oh, hey, how's everybody doing?
But it's like that. We have fun with it, and the golfers have fun with it too, because I love that Dave, you and I went to Bay Hill for years, and we would get autographs. I mean, I have it on the wall over here, and I'm looking at it, and that was fun. You have it right behind you right there. You have 2 of them, actually, 3 of them that are fully signed. That we had fun doing that, and it was fun because there was a time where we were walking down 15, and we were right by the tee box, and Ricky Fowler was like, hey, you guys want me to sign your flag? And we were like, well, yeah, but we didn't want to bug you. And it was nice when they do stuff like that. And that was during a practice round. But at no point did we ever feel like, hey, you're obligated to give us an autograph. You're obligated. If you say, hey, no, there's no ill will. I hate when media goes out there and says, oh, it's wrong that they're not out there signing autographs, or they're not doing this. That there's nothing that they have to do to sign autographs. And when people treat them like that and say those sort of things, why would they want to sign autographs moving forward? Like, you're harming kids when you're media and you're saying that they should do this and they have to do this. And they don't have to do anything. They don't owe us anything. Yeah. They go out there and we get to watch them be the best in the sport that we love. They owe us absolutely nothing. It's better when they choose to do it.
Greg, I think the problem we run into, and it's part 2 of this conversation that has started, and that is came on the heels, and Rory's been criticized for it. He was criticized at Bay Hill 2 years ago. And this weekend, Shane Lowry was criticized for not talking to the media. And this comes full circle, and I think the media takes cheap shots that they feel like it, and we have a double-edged sword here. We walk a very fine line because we are media. And at the end of the day, we want the interview. We want the players to be larger than life. But you also have to understand that these players are out there grinding their tails off, and that's their job. Mm-hmm. And you said it. Now, would we like it if people recognized us and we walked in and they said, "Hey, you're the golfing desk. Can you sign this?" Yeah, that would be nice. We would like that. We'd be Mr. Beast at that point, and I would.
So if you
we would do it,
anything,
we're not going to turn down an autograph.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and I think the three of us come from a background where we've seen the stupid and the insane. And here's a great example. And I was thinking about this earlier. Brett Favre, the game he played after his father died. So your father just died. How did that affect your playing tonight? Like,
dumbest question.
I know.
Because the media is going to ask. I mean, they're going to ask Shane Lowry questions like, "Oh, well, what happened on that 3-putt on 18?" Well, I hit the first one 6 feet past the hole and missed the comeback.
Yeah.
There's your answer. Like, it's a dumb question to ask. And it's a loaded question that, like, why put yourself in that scenario? And let's be real, the way media interviews are done on the PGA Tour, one, you go from scoring right to your interview, and you don't get a break, and then you're not going to do an interview after the champion sits down in the interview room. And so in this case, Sepp Straka goes in, that interview is going to be the longest, and that's going to be the wrap of the interview sessions.
And I'm going to give you a good example. Like I'm going to blow smoke up Augusta's ass because they do it right, is when they have that media center and they go in there and they're sitting at that giant table and everyone's in there asking questions. I like how it's done that way when the player has gone to the locker room, have been able to compose themselves, and then they go in there. It's not this, hey, you just walked off 18 and there's microphones there and I have to do an interview right away. I like when they do it later. They still do it right away, and I don't like that. I feel that type of interview and that kind of setting is much better, and you get a much better interview out of it, and there's much better questions from the media at that point.
So let me explain to you how the setup was. So 18 green was set up and had the tents around it. Just past the 18th green was 16. 16 was a 200-yard downhill par 3 that was awesome, right? And then just on the other side of that was a fence line, and they had some tents set up with some step and repeats behind them with the Truist logo on there, and then the driving range. So you would have literally walked off the 18th green, walked across the 16th fairway into this tent to do these interviews. Well, you're sitting there staring back at the scene of what just happened if you're Shane Lowry, where you had a chance to win. I don't want to sit there and look at that and have to answer these questions to these people. And I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at how I played. I bogeyed the last 2 holes. And I'll be honest with you, 17 on that golf course, the 17th hole on that golf course, it may be arguably one of the greatest design golf holes I've ever seen and been a part of. Like, it was incredible. No, it was literally that good. I'm going to be honest with you. My favorite hole in all of golf is still
12 at Augusta. Oh, no, not 12 at Augusta.
12 at Augusta is one thing. That's a par 3. That's the greatest par 3 ever designed. My favorite hole I've ever played is 4 on the Die Club. I think it's a perfect design golf hole. For those of you wondering, it's the hole that Bagger Vance has the meltdown on the way.
The Die at Colleton, not the Die Club. There's 2 different courses.
You're right. The Die at Colleton. I think 4 on the Die at Colleton is absolutely an unbelievable design golf hole. This hole,
mentally challenging hole you'll ever play.
This hole's close. I'd put it up there with it. Like, it was that good. But I think that when you look at where these players are trying to accomplish, and they're trying to win, and out there, and let's be real, it comes down to winning on the PGA Tour, nothing else. I mean, the story was Sepp Straka won this week, and you know what? Congrats to Sepp. He played great. He's the second multiple winner this year on the PGA Tour, only behind Rory, who's won 3 times. Sepp's now won twice. And when you look at what he's trying to do and what Shane Lowry's trying to do, and Shane Lowry hasn't won an event since the Open.
Yeah. Been doing good this year, though. I'm rooting for
Shane, playing great.
To be honest with you.
Don't get me. Let's not argue that Shane's played great. I wouldn't be surprised if he went back-to-back and defended at Port Royal.
But I do think that Shane made a good point at the Masters, saying like, "Hey, I just got off of this. Why not let me compose myself and give better answers later on?" And I honestly think I go back to what I said with the media when they have that media room and you let them go to the locker room, compose themselves. I think that's better interviews. I think it's better media. I think it's a better overall experience for not just the media, but the player and for the fans like us. Like, you're going to hear a better story. They're going to compose themselves. You're not going to hear this exhausted anger that is not driven the right way. You are not mentally in the right state if you just missed a putt that could have won you the tournament. Let's be honest.
I'm going to bring a separate point onto that. You're round 2 and you're sitting top 15, going into round 3, you're guaranteed a spot. That's a little bit more casual, laid back interview. We all love it when some of those guys come on and sit down, with the broadcast team and talk about a couple holes, but you're seeing that with the elite of elite players, doing that. Having, if you're going to go stick a microphone, and I'm going to random name, pick it out here at Oshke.
Okay.
And, what happened here, he's not the TV draw that, say, Jordan Spieth or JT or even Ricky coming on and sitting in the middle of a broadcast and talking to you. It's one thing to show up with the winner's trophy and your beverage of choice and be all nice and happy. And then there's another reporter that has to go over to the loser's locker room and say, you lost in 6 games. How do you feel right now?
I'm really, if you've ever seen the movie Basketball, and Dave, I know you and I love that movie. Like, we just lost a big game, man. And you're interviewing us. I feel down. And then they go over to you're not going to give that great interview. I do like when you're coming off, if you ask someone one question, like, hey, how you feel? Like, there's not a good question to ask someone as they're walking to the scorer's table or if they're coming out of the scorer's table. Give them time to have that. So I think as media, I think we owe it to them to be a little bit better and give them that. Don't go after this like gotcha type of questioning when they're not ready to answer that, because they're not in that mental state. They're still in the mental state of trying to win. They didn't win, and now there's anger and all these other emotions. That's not going to give you that good answer to that question.
Correct.
So, all right, with that, I say it's time for happy hour. We already went through major number 1, which is right behind me on the wall here. It is major number 2 time. It is the PGA Championship. Yep. And if you are not excited with the lead up to this and the storylines that are going into this, and hopefully no one gets arrested this year, but then you're not a fan of golf.
Hey, it was a really nice Champions dinner menu that I believe they're having tonight.
They
are having
last night.
Tonight.
No, tonight's tonight.
Yeah. It doesn't get the hype of the Masters dinner, but it's still a pretty big honor.
Oh, any kind of Champions dinner that you are a champion of a major event is that.
Yeah.
The Masters has the allure of the Masters and everything that's there, and has always been this big tradition that's there.
Yeah.
The other majors don't have that kind of tradition because you're not at the same course every year, and it changes venue. So like at the Masters dinner, you're at the same table every year.
Yeah.
Here, you're in a different area for this dinner. It's a different chef. It's a different, there's so many different things here. But going into this major, these are the major storylines that I'm looking out for. Number 1, Rory. Can he continue the in-season Grand Slam and go for number 2? Because you can't win them all if you don't win the first one, and he's the only one that won the first one. Now, Rory completed his career Grand Slam, and there is another player in the field this week that can do the same thing in Jordan Spieth. He can complete his career Grand Slam by winning the PGA Championship. Then you got the defending champion, Xander Schauffele. Hasn't been playing well all year, has been coming from a back injury, has started to play a lot better as of late. I picked him last week. He was T17, or no, T11 last week. T11 last week.
Steve's pick was tied 17.
I know, that's why I kind of went there. I knew one of us
thanks.
was, but he did a great job last week. So coming into this defending champion, I think he's in the right place. Next storyline you got there, as always, Mr. Scottie Scheffler in his last events dominated, like the Pacers dominated the Cavs on Sunday nights. It was just a brutal showing. I don't care who you are. If you shoot 24 under and you are in second place and not anywhere close to the leader, that's ridiculous. So there are so many other storylines.
There's also,
and then you have Colin Morikawa with his caddy, second week on the bag. What happens with caddies on the second week on the bag?
This caddy with the second week on the bag has took Justin Thomas to a victory at Harbortown, and he caddied for him at the Masters, then Harbortown.
You have one more storyline you're completely forgetting.
No, there's a few more storylines here because I'm going to go with our guest from last week.
Correct, Ryan.
Our guest from last week, Ryan, who is playing in his first major and qualified and is playing back in one of his hometowns in Charlotte at Quail Hollow. That's a great storyline with all of the PGA professionals that are there. Yep. Michael Block, I'm going to add into this as well. Back in the field, the block party's back. This is why I love this event, is that these teaching professionals and PGA professionals that help grow the game more than anybody out there, more than us, more than anybody, have a chance to qualify for this. So I will tell you, Ryan, we are rooting for you and your babysitter, Scottie. We're rooting for both of you. So with all of that, this is going to be a great week.
Oh, the Orlando golfer with a question.
That's another one. Who, by the way, is currently flying under the radar when we get to odds with Dave, in 5th place in the odds game right now.
Yeah. Speaking of the radar, the weather outlook looks a lot better in Charlotte right now than it has yesterday or today. We're looking at upper 80s with Thursday's a 9% chance of rain, Friday's 15%, Saturday's 23%, Sunday sunny skies but a 20% chance of rain. So the weather looks like it's improving, but here's the, before we get into players and anything like that, how is this course going to hold up with the deluge of water that came down there on Monday? Because like the Masters, they closed it to patrons on Monday.
I don't know how it's not Augusta, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
What was Hideki doing on Monday?
He was practicing like a champion, and I give him all the credit in the world for being out there.
On a putting green that was flooded?
I don't know what you're learning. I don't know what you're learning, but I give you all the credit. When you were out there like Randolph Juna, and you are working on your game, and you are out there in the rain still trying to work this out, heck yeah. Like, I give Hideki all props for that.
I'm just saying, go get a perfect practice putting mat, Hideki.
That's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
I recommend that, but it's not the same that's out there. So what do you think this week? So I'm not asking you to make your picks and anything. What are you excited to see this week? Like, you can talk about what I've talked about already, but what are you excited to see?
I heard a stat today, and I'm just going to throw it out there before we get to odds with Dave. This is the 10th PGA Championship that has been moved to May. So we've had 9 others.
It was 10 years ago that they made this switch?
Yeah, they made the switch, yes. Okay. 7 of the 9 winners since then finished inside the top 10 at Augusta. So the odds are in that favor of someone who finished in the top 10 at Augusta winning this week. Of that, when you look at the players that did that, there are 3 players that stand out as former major winners. Because the only one that was a first time, I believe, if I look back at the stats correctly, was Xander last year. it leaves 3 players that have a chance this week.
Yes.
2 of them came off of an injury, or coming off of injuries and illness, and withdrew last week, in Jason Day and Justin Rose. That leaves 1 other player, if those stats all hold true, and that's Rory McIlroy.
So I'm going to ask you this, because we talked about this right after the Masters.
Yep.
And we said the courses that are the 4 majors this year really play well to Rory's game and his history. Quail Hollow, he has owned Quail Hollow before.
Correct.
So that's number 1. And then Oakmont is another one when we get to the US Open. And then we're in his homeland of Northern Ireland for the Open.
Correct.
So odds with Dave, I'm going to go to this, and I want this later on. You don't have to answer this now, but what are the odds saying about Rory getting the Grand Slam this year?
Wow.
Because that's what I want to know. And you got to win number 2. Like, this is almost as exciting as the past few years in the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont, the Triple Crown. Like, this has been, we waited years for the Triple Crown to happen again, and then it started to happen again. So,
I have those odds right in front of me.
All right.
Let's wait for odds with Dave.
Let's wait for odds with Dave. Let's save that for odds with Dave. But that's a question we have there. And that's something I'm looking forward to. Like, I'd like to see Rory do that.
But okay, here's the question for both. Is our duck race to pick Rory or to pick Scottie?
Well, our duck race is ready, so whenever we're ready for that.
So, I felt like going into Augusta, the talk was literally everyone pulling for Rory to win the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
I don't feel the same talk about Jordan winning the career Grand Slam going into this week.
I don't think Jordan he's played well, but he's played like injury Jordan as well too. So it's what side of the line is Jordan going to be on this week? And I think for Rory, just because he was so many close calls and so many people kind of forget how long it's been since Jordan won number 3, and this is the one he's missing, whereas Rory had come so close at the Masters, and it's like Phil at the US Open, but Rory got it done.
But I think that in the past with Rory, it's been 11 years that we were waiting for Rory to complete this Grand Slam, and every year it was like, Rory, we want to see it, but Rory didn't seem like he was in the right place. And I feel that's the same to your statement, Dave, where Jordan is right now. If Jordan was playing a lot better, I feel that hype would be there. If Jordan was fighting for wins every week and in the top 10 every week, kind of like Rory has been going into the Masters, we'd be there. But I don't feel we're there. I think you're right with that, Dave. I think you're 100% on.
Yeah, and here's the thing. All of us red-blooded American media people, 23 months out of every 2 years, we love Rory. And there's 1 month that Rory can, go skip back across the pond. Whereas with Jordan, he's always just there. And he needs to be back into that top 15, top 10 on a weekly basis before getting back to media again. Media gets behind him and that push to say, is this Jordan's year? And I think it's come to that point with his injuries and everything else where and I think he said it himself that he needs to get better. And JT has said it. And the two of them, I think missing the Ryder Cup last year has reignited a fire underneath both of them and how they are playing this year.
I don't know that Jordan ever played really that. I mean, Justin never played that bad. Justin got some bad breaks and was going through a swing change. And kind of got out of it and forgot how to win. And now he's remembered how to win.
Yes.
Justin's another one. So the last time the PGA was here was his first PGA win. He won at Quail Hollow.
Yep.
So there's another name that we have to throw into the mix. Funny enough, do you know the one that hasn't played Quail Hollow all that much?
Bryson?
Scottie?
No. Scottie.
Yeah.
He's only ever played the President's Cup there.
Yep.
He never plays when it was the Wells Fargo or the Truist. He hasn't played it there because it fell into that time around the major and things like that. So he just hasn't played it there. So
well, okay, then here's a question for you, Stephen. A leading question. As an elite golfer like Scottie is, does that hinder his decision making around the course, or does that free him up to be Scottie Scheffler and just hit shots without having to think, well, if I was 5 yards farther this way, I know I can hit that shot? Does that change having played there so much for an elite golfer? Now, maybe somebody that is teetering around the cut line, it may or may not, but does not having played a course before coming into a major for those elite, those top 5, those top 10 golfers, does that change their perspective?
I don't think so, partly because of one thing. Major setup at Quail Hollow is going to be different than Wells Fargo / Truist setup at Quail Hollow. So fairways are going to be pinched in, rough's going to be up a little higher. That's going to play into the stronger players' hands. So as far as Scottie hits it,
the greens still slope the same way, though.
Correct. Scottie's also strokes gained putting is, I mean, everyone criticizes his putter, but strokes gained putting, he's up there still. He's just known for missing certain putts at certain times. I find it interesting, Lucas Glover's comments after last week, where he said everybody's going to be hitting the same clubs out here at 7,600 yards, and that at 7,100 yards last week, Philadelphia Cricket Club is actually a better golf course because you can be more creative and have different shots. All this now here is at 7,600 is driver and just bomb away. So I think that when you look at that aspect of it, you have to look at who's the best driver of the golf ball on the planet right now. You're going to hit driver everywhere. There's a couple awkward tee shots, 18 being one of them is a really awkward tee shot on that golf course. But I think you look at Quail Hollow and you say, the Green Mile, you're going to have this set up. You've got some risk reward angles and cutoffs on this golf course. Again, I don't know a golf course out there that doesn't suit Scottie Scheffler. I really don't. Like when you look at the game that he has, the way he drives it, the way he hits his irons, the way he wedges it, occasionally he'll shank one out of a bunker. When you look at what he does, it's awfully hard for me not to think that with him and Ted Scott on the bag, it's real hard for me to look and say, he's not got to be up there, regardless of how many times he's played the golf course. These guys know how to prepare week in and week out when they show up at a new golf course. They're good at that now.
They are. And the other thing that goes into this with the major, I think it is experience. I think if you've played this before, that's really going to help you because in a major, you take golf. Golf is a mental game. But when you go to a major, it is another level of a mental game at that because you are playing the best of the best on an elite setup golf course. Now, of the 4 majors, I will say this. The PGA Championship, in my opinion, sets up the easiest. Augusta is hard because it's Augusta. The U.S. Open is ridiculous, and the weather always affects the Open Championship. So I think that this sets up the easiest, where to this point of this question, I think that helps Scottie because you don't have to overcome a lot. You just have to, as Steve said, hit your shots, and it'll be a little bit better for you. So I also think the gradual rough
at the PGA, the gradual rough that they do at the PGA allows for a lot better scoring. You can just miss a fairway and you're not penalized like you are in the U.S. Open.
True, 100%. The U.S. Open is a beast within itself, and I love that's the way it's set up. But I also love how this is set up, and I think having those differences in these setups is what makes the 4 majors so unique at each location.
I also think this week, with the amount of rain that they got this week, you are going to see some numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see some low ones. The golf course took on too much rain yesterday and this morning, and it's going to be soft, and you're going to see these guys attack because they can.
Yeah, the greens aren't going to be dried out. Their ball's not going to be, rolling off the stimp meter, everywhere. You fly it in high and land it, and
if it stays soft, they're going to be throwing darts up there, and you're going to see these numbers up there, which will be good. But I also think that if you miss the fairways, you're going to be penalized because when that rough is that wet, that is a lot tougher to hit out of. So
yes,
where you go back to, it's going to come down to almost driving accuracy on here, and I think that's going to be a big
wet
part
fairways,
of this.
though, widened fairways. That's the one thing on tour that happens is you don't have the run out, and these guys don't care. They'll fly it as far as they want to, especially if you don't have to worry about it hitting and going into the rough.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
we got a giveaway to do. We got a smack of the week to do. And
let's
then
get
we got
into
to
smack
do
of the
our
week.
picks. Yeah, let's do giveaway first. Let's do the giveaway first.
You want to do the giveaway? All right, let's get into the giveaway.
Let's do the giveaway.
Steve, we have a giveaway that we did a few weeks ago. Sorry that this has taken us a while for this. We just had some logistic things that came up here, but we do finally have a winner of our Lombardi putter. Steve, drum roll, please.
It is on Instagram. Her name.
Nice.
Her name is Devin Graham Zadek.
Nice. Congratulations, Devin.
Congrats.
That is an awesome putter.
And it is a great putter. And congrats. And we will get that information. Lee has that, and he's going to get that shipped out for us. So look for a DM from us, and we will go from there.
All right. Well, with that, you can use that putter with these golf balls that are sponsoring Smack of the Week. The Bridgestone Mindset. If you are looking for a golf ball out there, this is one of the best golf balls in the game, and everyone is really talking about this now. You heard it here at the Golfing Dads first. We have been one of the advocates for this golf ball since it came out. The only bigger advocate than us is Jason Day. So check it out. It will help you with your game, with your mental game, and I think it'll help you at the major this week. So check it out.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we have our Smack of the Week this week. Steve?
And this week's Smack of the Week is in honor of Mother's Day.
So if you're listening to this on an Apple podcast or a Spotify, that was a gentleman saying that he was going golfing on Mother's Day and had a tea time, and Mom just shot him in the throat. Throat punch him there. Yeah. So that was learn your lesson, guy. Don't mess with Mother's Day.
Don't mess with Mother's Day.
Mother's
Day.
Moms out there. So to the mother of our children, we all have kids. Our wives. Happy Mother's Day, and thank you for everything that you do. To our moms, thank you for putting up with us over all the years. You're all now grandmas, so happy Grandmother's Day to all of you as well. So, all right. With that, we have exciting news tonight.
Exciting news.
We have a new sponsor of Last Call. So let's get into Last Call, and we will talk about that. The Cobra DS Adapt.
Mine's upstairs in my bag.
It is. You've actually gotten to use it more. I just got
mine I've actually. So I am the only one that hadn't hit this club. You two got to experience this at the PGA merchandise show. Mine showed up last Thursday. I unwrapped it from the box and took it directly to. I was a sub for our local men's league that night. Greg and I talked, and I kind of picked a setting that I thought would work for me. And you combine that with the Bridgestone Mindset E12 straight, and
Dave's got a new game.
Dave had to use different clubs because he hit the ball far.
Yeah, I will tell you. And we all three have different models, I believe.
Yes, no, David have the same one.
Oh, yeah. David, you have the same one? Okay.
We have the Max.
Yeah, I have the LS, and I will tell you, you can go back and look at one of our shows where we go over this, and you see my fitting from the PGA show, and Steve showed it on here. You get fit, you know what your So scan that QR code. So if you're at home right now, scan that QR code on the screen.
Yeah. And so both of you are at a 9. I have a 10.5.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I was fitted for this club specifically.
Yeah.
With a different shaft, but I actually have that shaft too.
Yeah.
But I'm in the F2 setting of the 33 different settings that are out there. And if you think that's way too many, you are wrong. This will change your game and help you out finding dialed into the right setting for your driver. This is an amazing technology. Check out Cobra Golf and the DS Adapt Future Fit 33.
And there will be some videos of all 3 of us at different locales hitting this driver.
I'm already in our intro show. Like, you can see this every week.
Yeah,
with me
but with proper footing.
I know. It was a wet day out there at the PGA show.
I'm hoping to get out. We have some graduation parties here this weekend, but I'm hoping to sneak out either Thursday or Friday and shoot a little video and try and get some swing in my Golfish gear with the Bridgestone mindset.
All right. So with that, Dave.
Man, that was the king of shameless plugs right there with all of them in there, Dave.
It was.
Maybe I'll wear my Desert Fox hat too.
Dave is the king of shameless plugs. It is perfect for that. But with that, before we get into odds with Dave,
maybe I'll go down and stay at the Evermore Resort.
I have it right here. Our duck race. I'm going to do it right now. Get it started. So here we go. Duck race is live. 30 seconds. There we go. I'm at the top. Oh, this is
who's in the middle?
Race.
Steve.
Steve is in the middle. Dave's on bottom.
Nope. Steve's not going to win.
Nope.
Here's the comeback. Where's the push? I don't know. This looks like he's taking a commanding lead here.
Commanding lead.
Greg left.
Greg, me, Greg,
Dave.
Me.
I think it's Dave.
Woo!
Me and then Steve.
No, Steve.
No, it's me then Steve.
Yeah.
So
I did not want to pick first.
You did not want to pick first?
I did not want to pick first.
Wow. I mean, you want to trade your pick?
No, not really.
Okay. So with that, yes, it is. So you have it on here. It is Dave, Greg, Steve. That is the order of the picks tonight.
Yes.
Glad I've got 4 names listed.
So, you should only have 3 names listed because there's only 3 that you should be picking.
I had 2, and one of them was not Scottie Scheffler.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
So, Dave, let's get into odds, and then we'll get into these picks.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you. This was your
plugs.
Yeah, this was your first time getting out, Dave. What'd you think of the rangefinder?
I didn't get a chance to use it.
Really?
Great answer.
Great answer.
Of people that have used it, we will say that the rangefinder is amazing. The Nikon Pro Shot 3. Go out, check it out. It has amazing stabilization and flag capture. It is the official rangefinder of not only the Golfing Dads Tavern, but the LPGA Tour.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, Dave,
unfortunately,
give us
my way around the court. You know, I should have used it, and I regret that I didn't on some shots.
Excuses.
But
give us the odds.
Yeah, I know.
No excuses.
So our first odd, the overall winning the in-year Grand Slam for Rory is 80-1 right now.
That's damn.
That's it. Yeah, 80-1
to win the career Grand Slam, or the
in-year Grand Slam to win all 4 majors this year. He is currently sitting at 80-1.
That's damn. Was not expecting that.
I thought it would be higher.
I did too. That's what I'm saying. 80-1 is amazing odds that you have to win 4 of them.
Yes, I may actually take that bet. No shock leading the way right now is Scottie at just under 4.5-1. Rory at 5-1. Yep, Rory at 5-1. Bryson at 9.5. John Rahm at 18. I find that, even though he's been playing well on Live, I find that a little high right now. No. Xander, defending champion, at 22. JT at 22. Morikawa at 25. Ludwig at 28. Joaquin Niemann at 30. Tyrrell Hatton at 45. Fleetwood at 45. Cantley at 45. Hideki at 45. Brooks at 45. Victor and Jordan at 50. And last week's champion and last week's I don't want to talk to the media, Shane at 55, Sepp at 60.
All right.
All the way down to...
Where's our favorite competitor?
Where's Ryan Lenahan? Yeah. Where's
Ryan?
Ryan is 5,000 to 1 to win. 350 to 1 to be in the top 10.
All right.
I have a bet. I have already put a bet down on Ryan for top 40 at 20 to 1. And a top 30 for him right now was, let's see if it's changed. Top 30 for Ryan was
what's his odds to make the cut?
I don't have odds to make the cut. He is 50 to 1 for a top 30. He is 100 to 1 for a top 20.
So, hey, I'll take a 50 to 1. We have players every week that are to win are 50 to 1. So that's a good odds, I think, to make the cut for him. I like that.
Yeah. So they don't have this year. I am not seeing any props on, there's the only special they have is how many live golfers will make the cut. They don't have anything on how many PGA professionals will make the cut.
Give me the live. Right? What's the odds on the live?
Over 9.5. Over under 9.5.
All right. So with that, odds with Dave.
How many are there? How many live players are in the field?
More than 9.
I hope so. That's great. Let's see. I'll look that up. Dave.
There is 5, 10, 15, 16 live players.
Is the answer. Yep.
Yes.
I'm going to take
Bryson, Rahm, Neiman, Brooks, Tyrrell, Reed, DJ, Sergio, David Puig, Cameron Smith, Burmeister, Phil, Kibian, Bland, Catlin, and Keimer.
So with that, don't say we don't care about live, because we actually do care about live. We just have our opinions on it. So with that, Dave, you have won the duck race. And so Rory. All right, moving on.
Yes. Done.
All right.
He was actually number 2. He was number 2. He was number 2 on my list because I didn't think I would win the duck race.
Who was number 1 on your list?
JT.
Really?
I like that pick. Not gonna lie.
I do like that pick.
Rory falls to me. I kind of have to. I've picked Rory now. I took him at Texas. I took him in the Zurich. I took him at Wells Fargo.
I'm just waiting for. I'm literally waiting. I can't believe we haven't gotten a comment on this already. Nobody. I can't believe he's not watching tonight, because he would literally
drink.
That would get a drink. Yeah.
Yes.
Be a drink comment.
So I really like Justin this week. I really thought that's where my pick was going to go. Because I thought I had the highest win last week. And just the way the duck races go for me, I figured I'd be picking third, and Scottie and Rory would be off the board.
Ah, okay. So, I mean, that's a good thing. So, I mean, with that, going into I'll be honest, going into the Byron Nelson, Scottie, I would not have picked. I would not have picked Scottie. And obviously I am picking Scottie this week because I think after what happened last year and all the momentum that went into that, he kind of lost momentum after a certain thing happened the first on Thursday. And I think that this year now he's back. He is out there. I want to pick Ryan. And I think if you have that third round mentality, like I've been talking about, if you have that all week, 100%, you got a chance at this. But I got to go with Scottie as my pick this week because
so you're taking the babysitter.
I'm taking the babysitter. I'll always bet on the babysitter.
Yep. Steve, I really your 2 picks.
So
I really feel like
2 out of 4 of yours.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, Dave, that I would have had you taking the possibility of Bryson and the Rory and Bryson showdown again. And that really wasn't talked about.
I almost went there with Bryson. And I had another one that I almost went with as well.
Yeah. I trust me. I like Bryson this week. I think with the course being wet, he's gonna rear back and he's gonna launch golf balls everywhere. Yeah. But I think that may lead to some problems for him because Bryson is a different player now than he was in the past when he said, I can outdrive any course that's out there. I think he's a different player, but at the same time, I like where Rory's game is right now coming out of Wells Fargo. I think he and Shane at the Zurich, played well and had a lot of fun together. And I just think Rory's in that mindset right now where he's going to go out and put his foot on the gas and take all 4.
We know where our picks are. So Steve, give us your pick.
This game is about points, right? We're about making points for this, right?
You're at 129, Greg's at 93, and I'm at 142.
I'm almost to 100. And we're only at the second major. I'm making a comeback, folks.
Yes, you are.
Call it a comeback. Got to get 3 players that I'm trying to pick between right now.
Who are your 3 players? Let's give you some help.
We have given you enough time to do this that we have just hammered on here. And we're still doing it. So just pick JT.
I'll take Bryson.
Oh! Steve, hold on. This is a golfing dad.
This is a first,
folks. Steve has taken a live player in any
That
event.
is true.
So you heard it here first. And I'll be honest, Bryson was one of my choices. I honestly think Colin Morikawa, he was going to be my other pick because I do believe in the faith of that caddy and the second event getting a win. And Colin has won at the PGA before. So I think that's
this is not the first time that Steve has picked a live golfer.
It's not.
Steve had Bryson at the U.S. Open last year.
Oh, okay.
For the win.
I'm
going
to say this. There's a comment on Instagram. Just want to give Odin Snipes a little shout out. What's up, Odin Snipes? He says Ricky for the win. And if any of you know golf history, where did Ricky's first win come?
Hold on.
Yeah.
It did. But hold on. I'm just going to say this, Odin. You're stealing Dave's thunder there with Ricky. That's Dave's favorite go-to pick.
Dave's, that is. That is.
Hot take. You're taking Dave's hot takes.
What's up, Odin? How are you, buddy?
And just for clarification, Ricky is below Max Homa in the odds right now. Ricky is coming in at 200-1, Homa at 160.
All right. With that, everybody, enjoy this major because it is going to be a fun one. I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to see the outcome because no matter what,
Ryan,
we're going to enjoy this. Ryan.
Best of luck, Ryan.
Third round mentality. You know what I'm talking about. Go out there, get it done.
Yes.
Cheers, everybody.
I'm really fortunate, man. I mean, I've been able to build something that's